Hi everyone, and welcome to the Pisces August 2021 self-connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and meaning-based spiritual coaching services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this is one of 3 connection readings I complete each month for each sign that focuses on bringing awareness to your unique internal authentic self and how that unique internal authentic self connects to your external environment as well as to the people in your life. So it's all about bringing awareness of self so that you can then realize your place and purpose and potential in your external environment while then bringing back that feeling of emotional fulfillment to yourself. All right, Pisces. So all of my readings do focus on utilizing the Triad of Engagement, which is showing how when you work with the 3 principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, you can not only unlock awareness about yourself, but awareness about your place and purpose in the external environment. So, Pisces, we are going to start with pulling a Power of Surrender card here for the concept of curiosity, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But as I'm shuffling the cards, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I saw as I was tapping into your energy. So just on an intuitive note, I got the feeling, and also, to preface this, for any of those of you who are new to my readings, the self-connection reading is, we start off the month with the self-connection reading because this is a reading that's meant to really open awareness to your unique internal self and some aspect that needs to be highlighted and perhaps worked with. So that then as we move into your other readings for the month, you kind of get a chance to see how that part of yourself is meant to be engaged outside of yourself. So, as I was thinking about that specific concept and thinking about your energy, Pisces, I immediately saw a fish. Now, your symbol is the 2 fish. So it's not a giant surprise that a fish would come to mind for me, for you, Pisces. But I saw the fish swimming and then immediately hit what seemed to be a glass wall, and then turn around and hit another wall, and then turn around and hit another wall. And I realized as I backed up that the fish I was seeing was in a very small fish tank, but it was a large fish. And so there's this component, Pisces, that this month you are realizing that you've outgrown a space and perhaps are almost feeling like either A, you're hitting a glass ceiling, or B, you're hitting boundaries that you didn't realize were there for yourself. And now you're much bigger and that maybe you hadn't realized until now because, again, you hadn't been big enough. You hadn't grown to this point to realize the barriers that you had not been able to see previously. So there's this element of maybe feeling a little penned in, but also this element of growth that's coming through. That there's going to be this element this month of you being able to look within to find some aspect of self that's going to help you be able to free yourself from that small aquarium you're finding yourself in. And it's going to allow you to liberate this newly grown version of yourself. All right, Pisces. We are going to move into pulling a card here. So we're pulling a card for the concept of curiosity, and curiosity is about tapping into the power behind the principles of optimism, openness, and receptivity. So this is where we get to break through those barriers of negative thought patterns where we stop basically believing in the magic of life. We start to feel like we know everything. We've been there, done that. And when we turn that inwards, that can look like us telling ourselves, well, that's just who I am. I can't change. And well, I've tried to, bring this part of myself out, but to no good end result. And so I'm just going to hide this part of myself. Or that can look like us trying to hide parts of ourselves because it's too painful to look at. And for us to say, well, I just don't want to go there. And instead, we utilize curiosity to shine that light inwards from a place of optimism and openness and receptivity to believe again in that awe and wonder that we never know everything about everything, be it our external environment or our internal environment. And that when we utilize curiosity, we're actually utilizing it as a learning tool, as with the knowledge behind it that we might see something we hadn't seen previously about ourselves, especially about a part of ourselves that maybe we've closed ourselves off to, or that we might actually discover some aspect of self that we had not discovered before because we had not grown far enough to be able to see that. And Pisces, that's really what I'm feeling coming through for you guys this month. So we have 2 cards for curiosity. And when we're talking about curiosity, we're talking about building in a question or building out a question around the energies of these cards that you can ask yourself throughout the month to bring awareness to your internal self, so that hopefully by the end of the month, you will have brought awareness to something within yourself that needed to have attention brought to it. And you'll start to be able to have illuminated for you why now, why this part, and what does it have to play in your external environment and keeping you on this path to feeling purpose and meaning and emotional fulfillment. So Pisces, we have 2 cards. We have Surrender Your Fear of Intimacy. And it says, you are ready to let love in. Compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. And then we have Surrender Stubbornness. And it says, if you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. And these 2 together, I think, really go hand in hand. There's, quality about almost being stubborn that prevents us from being intimate with others, where maybe we're getting to this point in a relationship, or, this can be, intimacy can happen on all levels. Intimacy can happen even in your workplace, where you're connecting with the people that you work with, or you're connecting with your clients, or you're connecting just on an intimate level yourself with the work that you do. But this can also obviously be romantic love, or love where it's, between you and a family member or a friend. And there's this element of intimacy can be very difficult because it means that we have to be vulnerable. It means that we have to show ourselves in our entirety, which does sometimes mean showing the bad parts along with the good parts. But what's beautiful about when we open ourselves up on an intimate level, even in a workplace, even in opening up ourselves, both strengths and weaknesses, to what we choose to do for a living, that can really allow us to expand, because we're really stepping into that place of confidence in ourselves. We're showing the world this is who we are, warts and all, so to speak. And I love myself, and I am aware of my faults and my strengths, and I hope you can honor both the way that I do as well. And that's really, when we talk about intimacy and mutual sharing, that's really what you're doing. Whether, again, it's coming through in a career space where you're sharing yourself intimately with what you choose to do for work, or whether this is in a personal relationship where you're deciding to show aspects of yourself in a and this could be something that's very deep-seated, that maybe you have a wounding from the past that sits with you, and it's hard for you to share that with others. But the more that you break yourself down to allow yourself to be vulnerable, the more you allow others around you and environments as well to be vulnerable in return, and to honor that part of yourself. But when we're thinking about building out a question between these 2 cards, Surrender Stubbornness and Surrender Your Fear of Intimacy, there's this quality here of when we think about, I'm just looking at what's actually communicated on these cards. At the bottom of Surrender Stubbornness, it says, this will help you communicate. So I'll read the whole thing again. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. And there's the word tensing up really stands out to me here. There's this quality of, it's almost like having to bare your soul to somebody. But if you think about that in just, let's say, on a very surfacey level, taking off your clothes and having to turn around and show yourself in your physical nakedness to somebody, there's this quality of like almost tensing up, like how are they going to see me? Are they going to judge me? There's this element of not wanting to show yourself. And I think this ties directly to what I was instinctually or intuitively picking up for you guys, is that you've grown. I got this vision of a fish, but it was like this beautiful silvery green fish that was very unique. And there's this element of, there's a part of yourself that is needing to be seen, and it's beautiful. But I think you've been kind of holding yourself back. You're afraid to show this part of yourself. You're afraid to show this really beautiful, unique part of what you've grown into. And that can be, I can understand that. I think we all at some point go through that period where we realize, I think I'm a little different. And when we talk about, I think this is an interesting concept that oftentimes we get kind of mixed up when we talk about working with our authentic selves and really understanding that we're all unique individuals and that we all come to this experience, this life experience, with something unique to offer and a place to fill. That there is this quality that we somehow kind of mix up our growth in our spiritual and emotional evolution with, well, I shouldn't have to change because, right, I'm an authentic being and I am who I am and I don't have to change. But there's a quality to our experience that we are asked to evolve. We are asked to continue to grow, just like our physical bodies continue to change and our mental experience continues to change as we get more information that comes in over the years of us growing. The same thing happens on an emotional and a spiritual level. We continue to grow. Now, that doesn't mean that we change from who we originally originated as in this life experience. It means that we're simply uncovering and expanding the best parts of ourselves that make us unique. And so that's where we have to really be open and understanding and utilize and tap into curiosity to say, yes, I have changed. I have grown on a spiritual side to myself. I went from maybe being a little goldfish this big in a very big aquarium to now I've become something so much grander through my life experience. And there's a part of myself now that has outgrown my surroundings. And in order for me to go out into, I almost feel like the clear glass that you're hitting up against is that barrier between you and showing yourself to the world. There's this element of intimacy here where you can be seen. You're being seen by others around you for the changes that you are going through, but you're almost not allowing yourself to cross that barrier. You're being stubborn. You're not allowing yourself to cross that barrier to authentically connect with the external environment that now you need to, it's almost like you're in an aquarium at the bottom of the ocean and you're hitting these walls when in reality all you have to do is swim up and out and go out. And I get this feeling that there's all these people kind of like around you going like all these other fish and creatures, and they're like, why don't you just come out? Come out and join us. You're big enough now. Like, what are you doing? Why are you allowing these thin walls to stop you from coming out to be in a place where you now belong? So, with what I'm seeing here, a question to ask yourself this month, to start this month off and to continue to ask yourself as you move through the month. Where is an area in your life where you're being stubborn? Stubborn in your viewpoint that you... Sometimes I have a hard time formulating this question. I can see it, but I have a hard time getting it out. So let me try to use my words here. Where are you being stubborn and resisting going beyond the safety of your walled aquarium and going out into the beyond that you can see? Because there's some aspect of self that you are really scared to tap into that has grown, it has evolved, and it's being noticed by others, but you're kind of the last one to notice it for yourself. And where can you, and once you ask yourself that question and you start to think about that, then ask yourself a follow-up question. Why am I so afraid to take myself, this new kind of more powerful, beautiful version of self, out of my limited environment? Why am I so afraid to go out into the bigger environment? When I go out there, that's really where I'm going to find people who are just like me, other fish who are just like me. And I'm going to learn so much more about myself, and I'm going to actually now be more in alignment with this bigger, more spiritually evolved version of myself. Why am I scared to let that part of myself come into contact with others? Really a powerful message, Pisces. There is this quality here of going through some extreme growth. But again, I think where perhaps also another great good question to come in here would be, where perhaps are you thinking that others are holding you back, when in reality, it's almost like believing there's, like you're hitting the glass walls, but there is no glass ceiling. So it's almost like the reverse of what a lot of people experience, where it's they have the glass ceiling where they can't go any higher, but they can go kind of lateral all over the place. It's the opposite of you. It's almost like you're trying to go laterally. You're trying to stay in the same bubble you've been in for all this time. And now what you're being asked to realize is that there is no glass ceiling. There is no barrier between you and growing and basically exposing on an intimate level this new version of self, and then growing into your new expansive environment. And you're being asked almost to stop playing it small. You're not the little goldfish in the aquarium anymore. You're the big, beautiful fish that has that's being asked to go into the greater ocean. And this is really a time where, as you're asked to do that, it's because you have a new purpose to fill. You're being asked now, it's safe for you to go out into kind of the big unknown. So Pisces, big kind of aha moments for you this month. If you can tap into that, another additional question, where do you think you're limited? Because you've been trying to kind of go laterally in the same space you've been in, when in reality it's about going up and out. It's about expansion instead of staying in the same realm, and maybe I'll just get a job that's similar to what I already have, or maybe I'll just try a new relationship that's in the same level as, I'll be the same person I was in this relationship, And instead you're being asked to, no, it's time to evolve. It's time to move up and out and to expand. This is a month of expansion, of internal expansion for you Pisces. So now we're going to move into the concept of courage. So I'm going to pull a spirit animal oracle card. And courage is where we get a chance to then move from curiosity, where we get a chance to tap into the awe and wonder of what we don't know about life, including what we don't know about ourselves, and we're being asked now to realize. And then we get to move into courage, where we get a chance to then actually have the courage to take action from that new place, that new discovery that we are becoming aware of through curiosity. And courage is the seat of our self-empowerment. This is where we get a chance to actually control our experience. We can't, it's an illusion that we can control things in our external environment, including people, which we can't. We can try all we want, but the more we try to control from an external perspective, like trying to get somebody to change or trying to force a perspective shift in the external environment or trying to force a job situation to work, instead of changing first from inside, where again, we choose to take the actions first. If we choose to focus too much on the external, that's where we start to feel out of control. That's where we start to feel frustrated. It's also where we can feel anxiety because things are not, we feel that we try to control, and because we realize on some subconscious level we can't control, we start to feel that everything's out of our control. And in reality, we can bring it back to ourselves and say, no, there's always some small decision that I can make, that I get to make, that I'm in control of making, that gets me to bring my experience back within my control. Meaning, when we have to do it from a place of authenticity and awareness. So let's say you do want to step into, okay, realizing, wow, there is no glass ceiling. I really can expand up and out, and there is this new part of myself. And I'm going to face being vulnerable. I'm going to face how scary it is to go out as a new, it's just almost like, if you think about how it felt when you were moving from, let's say, elementary school into junior high or middle school, or moving from, let's say, for those of you who went away to college, moving from high school into going away to college, there's this quality of growth each time you do that. But also showing yourself as perhaps a slightly different, more evolved version of yourself. And that fear that comes with, will everybody like who this new person is? Will I be able to express this new version of myself? And there is a period of kind of awkwardness. It is like every time we emotionally and spiritually evolve, it is similar to how when we evolve on a physical and mental level. There is this kind of awkwardness of us kind of like a toddler trying to stand up and walk, and we do it a little bit and then we fall down. And then we do it a little bit more and then we are able to walk a few more steps and then we fall down. And so there's this quality of, sometimes what happens is when we go through these changes, we try to get up and we walk and we stumble and we fall and we just give up. And we say, never mind, I don't want to go there because that was scary. People laughed at me or I failed. And in reality, what you're being asked to do is to continue to get up and work with this new version of yourself. And the more that you do that, the more that you take action from that place of awareness, and the more that you're aware of your internal self as much as you're aware of your external self, that you get that chance to continue to grow. You get to move from that toddler phase each time. All right, so 2 cards came out for courage for you Pisces. So we have Squirrel Spirit, and it says, believe in yourself. Couldn't be a better message. The number here is number 57. And that breaks down to a number 12, which breaks down to number 3. Love that number. That number is, to me, kind of the divine child. It's that number where, in that concept of kind of greeting, we think about, I can never get the saying quite right, but it's almost like greeting God with the heart and mind of a child. There's this quality of believing in yourself from a place of understanding, of looking at your inner child, of looking at yourself like you would look at a child outside of yourself, to give yourself that kudos and to give yourself that keep going that the universe wants to bring in for you, that how the divine sees you, it's then bringing that energy back into yourself and realizing that you are that divine child at any given time in your life. We never, no matter how old we are or how experienced we believe we are still always that divine, we are still always that child to the divine. And then we have vulture spirit. And it says, nothing is wasted. Number 63, breaking down to a 9. And 9 is about culmination of a cycle. It's about learning lessons. It's about taking forward everything that you've learned up until this point and utilizing it in ways as you take action that are authentic to you. And I love this kind of concept of nothing is wasted. I almost feel here with this that there's this quality of perhaps you feeling that on your growth towards being this bigger fish, that perhaps you've wasted time. Or that maybe there's this quality as you start to realize that, wow, you're right, I've been trying to stay in this box. I've been the same person in this relationship, or I've kept going after the same jobs, and in reality, I'm a totally different fish. That there's this element of almost looking back and saying, well, gosh, how much time have I wasted? How much time have I, spent where I could have maybe had a better relationship with somebody, or I could have furthered a career in this other aspect of, another interest of mine that I haven't wanted to admit to myself. And in reality, that's not the truth. The truth is that we all come to our own awareness in the time that we are supposed to. There is this element of going through these lessons, going through direct experience, meeting challenges to where we get to that point then when we're being asked to expand and have that awareness of the new spiritual aspect of ourselves, that we've gone through the things we needed to go through and that nothing was wasted. That time actually was meant to lead you here. But now you have, and this is where courage comes in, now you have the choice. You have the choice of free will to either act from this new place of awareness and move forward confidently and with full faith. So where courage taps us into the awe and wonder of life, curiosity. Courage taps us into faith in ourselves, that we should be taking action from a place of authenticity, and faith in the divine, faith in everything, basically faith in destiny, that the more that we act from this place of awareness, the more that we will see our place and purpose in the external environment. And that's where free will and destiny get to engage. And so now this is where you get to step into that place of personal empowerment, of saying, okay, I'm going to, through free will, raise up and move out of my box. And I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to look at myself like the divine looks at me. I'm going to tap into the divine child in myself, give myself that kudos, give myself that, and realize I'm connected at any given moment to the divine, and that I can fall back on them for that extra kind of parental pat on the back of like, it's okay, sweetie, keep going. That each time you fall down, you can kind of look back and say, Spirit, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And get that intuitive feeling of, yes, keep going, keep swimming. Beautiful message, Pisces. Message is coming through very clearly here. So now we're going to move right into the concept of contemplation. And contemplation is the final principle in the Triad of Engagement because it's the principle that connects the other two principles of curiosity and courage, but it also allows you to tap into the principle of connection itself. So contemplation is where we get a chance to take a look at where we were curious and asking questions. Then we get a chance to connect that to the actions we took, and we get to see and reflect on the consequences of those actions. So this is where we get to integrate learning. We get to continue our self-education through direct experience. And it's also where we get a chance to prevent ourselves from really becoming stagnant in any of the four aspects of ourselves. So this doesn't just mean on a spiritual and emotional side. This means also where we can become stagnant on a physical and a mental side to our life experience as well. Because we're constantly looking at, okay, let's say bring it to the physical. I wanted to get myself in shape. I took all these actions, but yet nothing's changed. And that's where you can stop and then go back to the first principle of curiosity to say, okay, I'm going to be curious as to what didn't work out. And now going from curiosity, I can move into courage, say, okay, now where am I going to change the action that I took to see about getting a different response, a different outcome, a different consequence. So this is how, again, we get a chance to learn. It's also where we get a chance to prevent ourselves from getting into the same codependent, let's say, romantic relationship, or where we stay in one job that we hate for 25 years. This is where we get to allow ourselves to have that self-awareness and to reflect. And we can tap into the power of contemplation at any given time. This isn't like we have to specifically go through step by step by step to get to a planned point of, well, I meditate for 1 hour each week because that's all I can, find. Contemplation is not to be synonymous with more of what we would consider these new versions of meditation or meditative practices. Contemplation is something that we, just like with curiosity and courage, the more we utilize and interact with these principles, the more that they should just become basically become integrated in our decision-making process, in our self-realization process, in our awareness process. This is how we keep awareness of self as well as situational awareness. So we should be contemplating on consequences at any given time. We should be contemplating on, I was really tired tonight and I didn't go to the gym and I don't feel great about it. I'm now sitting on the couch at 9:30 at night feeling guilty. And I'm going to contemplate about that fact. Okay, why am I feeling guilty? Am I feeling guilty because this is just the one night out of every other night that I go to the gym? And in reality, is this really hurting me on the level that I think that I'm feeling? Or is it me just beating myself up and I can actually just forgive myself and say, no, I deserve one night a week where I can just chill? Or is this you feeling guilty because this is a repeat pattern? You keep making excuses as to why you can't go to the gym, and that's the real reason why you're sitting here feeling guilty at 9:30 at night, because this is a pattern of behavior that's within your control to change. So that's how we get a chance to really utilize contemplation. It's not meditation. And you can build in meditative practices, which I would highly recommend to anybody and everybody, because for me, meditation was the key to unlocking a lot of the awareness about myself that I needed when I was going through a period of spiritual and emotional stagnation. But it's not necessary. Contemplation is just continual self-reflection and self-awareness. Okay, So, well, it can also be directed obviously to our external environment as well. It doesn't have to just be directed towards self-awareness. It can be directed towards situational awareness as well. All right, so for your final card for contemplation, we have the Great Gathering. And it says, it's all coming together, intuitive hits, soul tribe. And I think here that this is kind of what I was feeling, again, through just intuitively in seeing you as this beautiful fish kind of walled off from all these other creatures that are around you in the ocean who are like, come on out, like, we're ready, we're here, but you have to come, like, we can't get to you, we can't go in and fit in your little aquarium, you have to come out to us. And so there is this element of going back to the fear of intimacy and the stubbornness of, it's time for you to come out and intimately engage with your external environment, which includes other people in your life. To break down those walls, to show yourself as the beautiful, new, shiny fish that you are, and to understand that this is bringing people to you that are on the same energy level as you, who are as interested in you as you are interested in them. And the soul tribe, it's all coming together. There's this quality of, that's why the timing is now. That's why you're meant to see now that there is no glass ceiling. Because the right people in the right places, the connections are all going to kind of come into place to allow you to be able to expand. And part of that expansion is to intimately connect as this new version of self with another or with others. So again, this can be on a romantic level where you are, in a romantic interpersonal relationship where you're allowing parts of yourself to be seen and you're allowing the other person to see them and to help you. And the beautiful thing is, the more you're allowing these new parts of yourself to be seen, the more you're probably going to realize that the other person in your life is like, finally, you're realizing your own beauty, your own capabilities. And they're going to be there to help you. Just as much as if this is, let's say, in the work world or in other aspects of your life, where now it's like, the more that you start to really push yourself to go up and out, the more you're going to realize, as maybe perhaps you pursue a career path or a job that you felt was maybe beyond yourself, you're going to have other people around you who have been watching you for some time come out and actually help elevate you, to say, we were just waiting for you to ask, or we were just waiting for you to step up into your full power. Even in this, you could be staying in the same position, but you could be finally stepping up into the full realization of that position. Maybe you were promoted to an upper level management position and you've just been kind of struggling with actually stepping up into the leadership element of that. And the people above you they're like, we know you're capable. That's why we promoted you here. But now you have to come out and swim with the big fish. And when you finally get out there and do that and step up into that new version of self that's stepping up into the leadership qualities, that's what's going to elevate and really allow you to be intimately seen by those who now are at that level with you. So Pisces, I think this is a leveling up month for you. A leveling up month in a way where I think you've already leveled up. Where some of the signs I was getting a little bit of a different message, where it's almost like, okay, this is where you're going to go through that aha growth moment. I really feel for you, it's like you've already gone through the growth aha movement, but you've been kind of just a little scared to go out there. It's like you see everything that's out there, but you feel like it's beyond your reach. And yet everybody sees you already as this big fish. that's ready, and it's like they can't understand, like, why aren't you stepping up and out and coming out with us? So this is more about you breaking down that fear of leaving kind of the small pond, so to speak, being the big fish in the small pond, and going out into the big, great, wide ocean to realize there's so much more for you, and you're being asked to go into it for a reason. There's a part of yourself that needs this expansion, and it's going to feel freeing and just, I think, wonderful, because you're finally going to realize you're going to be seen for who you are. And you're not going to have to hide it anymore. You're just going to be accepted by all those other fish that have been waiting and watching and wanting to support you, and you've been holding yourself off from intimately coming out and connecting with them. You've kept those walls up. All right, Pisces, I hope this has been an illuminating reading. I look forward to completing your other readings for the month. I hope you check them out, because they're kind of meant to be looked at as a holistic whole. So your next reading will be the spiritual connection reading coming out this upcoming week, where we take a look at connecting your unique internal authentic self within your external environment and what blocks might be preventing you from doing that. As well as then we move into your love connection reading, where we look at, it's kind of more of a free form reading, where we kind of I pull tarot cards and we get a chance to see what comes up from the general themes of love, both romantic and just, in between our interpersonal connections, and to see if any areas of blockages come up, or just messages around a certain person or persons that you're dealing with. And if you'd like to book a personal one-on-one tarot reading with me, the link for my website is in the description box below. I have both tarot readings and one-on-one coaching. If you'd like to turn a coaching session into a live tarot reading, by all means, we can do that. Those are open and fluid. And if you would prefer to have a tarot reading read for a specific theme in your life or a subject matter, you can just type that in the notes and I will gear my reading towards that for you. All right, my lovely Pisces, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, a great August, and I look forward to reading for you again in September. Bye.